If you've been struggling to get in shape your whole life, or you've done countless things, maybe you've done keto, you've had a personal trainer, you've done ChatGPT, you've done carnivore, you've done diets online, you've done Weight Watchers, you've done GLP-1s, but for some reason, okay, you're successful in all other areas of your life, right? You're successful in business, you're great at work, you're a great father, you're a great friend, but for some reason, you just cannot seem to solve this problem of actually being in great shape, being healthy, like feeling confident about the way that you look. And in this video, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna explain the common thread I see with everybody who comes through my program, right? They first come to me because they failed in the past. There's things they've done, they've not been able to do it themselves, they've tried other things, but they come to me because they're like, Riley, I don't know what it is, like I've tried, I've struggled, maybe sometimes they do know what it is, but they failed until they've went through my program. So I'm gonna explain the common thread of why most people fail and the common reasons, how we can get over those failures to actually succeed when it comes to fitness. So I'm gonna break it down for you, okay? Who am I? I run an online fitness coaching program where I help men lose weight, get in shape, optimize their health, right? Especially guys who have struggled their whole lives with it. I help them solve that area of their life and allow them to be healthier fathers, husbands, leaders, entrepreneurs, whatever it is that's important to them, and I help them solve that in my 6-month program in which I coach them one-to-one. If you're interested in this, you can find information for that below, but this video, basically the first reason why people fail is their mindset around fitness, okay? I've talked to so many guys who are like just killer entrepreneurs, they crush it in business, right? It's like long-term thinking, building, like setting the base, setting the foundation, like they're just forward-thinking people. But when it comes to fitness, they're doing keto, they're doing Weight Watchers, they're doing 90-day boot camps, they're doing all this stuff, and that's why they fail. They're like, oh, we got vacation, when we come back and we're locking in and we're getting it in. It's like they're always waiting for some perfect period of time where they're gonna magically solve fitness, right? But just like in business, you don't just magically solve all your problems. It's an ongoing process in which every day you just work to be better and do the things you need to do, right? In business, you have to make sure that you're reaching out to people, you're talking to people about what you're doing and making sure when people do sign up with you, like you're doing a good job and you're like constantly is no just magic, you know what I mean? It's not just gonna be solved, right? It's a constant process. And that's the same thing with fitness, right? Stop viewing it as a program that you need to follow in a lifestyle that you live, right? It's not in 30 days, you're not gonna undo 10 years of bad habits, all right? In 3 months, you're not gonna lose the weight and then it's solved, right? It's like you have to change to change. If you've been living a certain way, you probably know the things, drinking, smoking, not that you can't have those things, but at some point, you have to change. So stop viewing it as something you're just gonna do for 30 days, magically all your habits that have gotten you to a position where you're watching a video talking about weight loss is just gonna magically, those are gonna be fine, right? So stop thinking it's gonna be a program, but think of it as what can I commit to for the rest of my life? And once you commit to it in that way, that's why my clients are so successful, is because they're not viewing it as, all right, it is a program, right? But the way I frame it is this isn't a program. Like you're committing to changing who you are. And if you're just looking for a quick fix, great. Go do that and come back when that doesn't work for you and you're ready to actually change. Okay? Now, the reasons people fail when it comes to programs, quick fixes, and things like this, I call like the way that training is. I always say fitness itself has kind of 3 main parts to it, right? You have to work out, you have to burn X amount of calories, you have to hit the gym, whatever it is that you do. Assuming you want the end goal of looking good, right? You want to look like me, you want to have muscles, you want to be lean, like you want to have an objectively good body and be healthy. You have to have muscle mass, you have to have low body fat, and to get that, you have to be resistance training, so you have to have training. You have to be eating the correct foods, right? The right ratio of macros, how much do I eat, what do I eat, like how do I plan my day, how do I consistently, what supplements do I take, nutrition. And then lastly, how can I stay accountable, right? Whether I have a program I can stick with, I have somebody holding me accountable, or I put myself in a community with other people to hold me accountable, right? How am I gonna make sure that I don't fall off, okay? And that's what I call the 3 pillars of fitness, and that's why if you look at other solutions, okay, why people fail. If you had a personal trainer, right, you're paying, what, $720 a month at the minimum, right, $1 a minute, for just workouts. Maybe you go 3 days a week, and I'm sure the workouts are probably great, and you have somebody there, but when you leave, you're not doing your nutrition, and then, you know what I mean, it's like you cannot out-train, you can't out-work, you can't out-bicep curl the fact that you're eating Big Macs and going out to the club, and you know what I mean, you can't outdo that, right? So maybe you make some progress with that trainer because you do that lifestyle change, but, okay, outside of the gym, maybe he does help you with the nutrition, but once you stop working with that trainer, they just fall off, right? Because the trainer's not there, you just go back to your old habits, right? You don't actually learn, right? So accountability, I would say that aspect of the accountability side is where it lacks, because you just have the training, but you lack the nutritional programming, but then that long-term accountability of you actually knowing what to do on your own. Next, let's look at things like GLPs, dietitians, or just diets in general. If you do a GLP-1 and you just eat less food and you eat less bullshit, and you're not resistance training, and you just diet, this is where you get like Ozempic face, or you lose you lose muscle, you lose bone density, because not only do you have to eat less calories, but the calories you are consuming need to be consisting of the right foods and the right ratio of macronutrients in correlation with the right supplements in doing the training, so you keep the muscle you have, build some muscle, and the weight that you are losing due to your calorie deficit is body fat. All right, so this is why having a structured nutrition program is so key in conjunction with a proper training program. Now, if you look at something like a keto or a dietitian or GLP-1, 2, all of these have an end time. Unless you want to do GLP forever, okay, and never actually solve your nutritional habits and just be a twig and skinny and have no muscle and have brittle bones, like, I'm sure you don't want that. And I'm sure you don't want to freaking never eat a carb for the rest of your life. Like, who actually wants to do that? Like, you could never have a banana for a piece of bread for the rest of your life? Come on. Like, are you really going to stick with that? You know, you're really going to, like, come on. Like, be realistic, right? It's why people stop. That's why keto isn't going to work, because it's like you're going to eat a carb at some point. You're going to go on vacation, you're going to have good food, you're going to break the keto chain, and you're going to come back and be like, whatever. And then, like, again, it's why you fall off. So you need to have the training in check, you need to have the nutrition in check. Lastly, okay, you need to have that accountability. The reason people fail with the GLPs, the personal trainers, right, is because it lacks that accountability, right? So the first piece of accountability is actually having a program you can stick with, all right? Because even if you have all the accountability layers, if the shit is just impossible, like, you're not gonna run a marathon every day, because it's just too difficult, right? David Goggins, like, okay, you're not David Goggins, so like, okay, just chill out for now. You need to have something you can stick with, right? Because again, if you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you have shit to do, right? So you could have a great fitness program, but again, it needs to work. The reason you're probably not succeeding is because you have things to do. You have a business, you have kids, you have work, you have all this stuff. That's why you're not succeeding. So it needs to work with those things, all right? Next is you probably need some sort of like accountability in terms of maybe you have a partner, or you have a coach, or you have a community, you have a gym you go to, you have people that you go to a class with or something like that. There needs to be some layer of accountability in what you're doing, or else, again, you're not going to succeed, right? And again, someone like me, I have that accountability in myself because I've built it, but also, right, I fell in love with the gym because I was playing sports. I had a whole sports team to go to the gym with. I actually had a coach from when I was in fifth grade all the way to freshman year in college. I actually worked with a trainer for 12 years. Okay, so like I built my accountability because I had somebody hold me accountable. All right, so if you look at like ChatGPT, or you do random P90X, or you do all this other stuff, there's an element there that lacks you actually building the self-accountability, but then also there's a lacking element of like there's nobody to get you to that point where you can hold yourself accountable. All right, and this is like when you look at all this stuff, this is the stuff I've learned. This is why I love what I do so much, and this is why I run my program the way I run it, is because I actually want to get people where they want to be with their results, but I want to make sure that they maintain the results for the rest of their life. Okay, which is why what I do, right, we take all those three aspects, right, training-wise, we give a customized, easy-to-follow, simple training program that's structured, laid out for you that you can actually stick with. Okay, and then nutritionally, again, a customized nutrition program based around your schedule, right? You have work, you have kids, you got this, I don't like this food. Like, again, built for you, okay? And make sure that you actually understand what foods to eat intrinsically so you don't need a meal plan for the rest of your life, okay? And actually teach you those habits of like, what do I eat? You can teach your kids. And then lastly, that accountability, right? Not only do you have a personal coach, me, whose my entire life's focus is make sure you get fitness results, you have a community of other men just like you, entrepreneurs, executives, high-level driven men in a community trying to do the exact same thing you're trying to do with the same exact struggles you have, okay? Everyone's got the same issues, and they're also doing it. So it's that other layer of accountability. You can connect with other people. And then lastly, again, doing the training, doing the nutrition in a way where you can actually stay consistent for the rest of your life and integrate it into your life. And I think that's the truest form of accountability, is not teaching, oh, you need to be disciplined, but actually making it so simple and so straightforward that you don't have to use your discipline because it's a lifestyle for you. And that's kind of why my program, I think, has been so successful and why it works so well, is because we actually take that approach. And if you're interested in joining that framework that I just talked about and you'd be interested in hearing more about that, feel free to fill out the application below and I'll reach out to you and I'll get in touch with you to see if it's something you feel like would make sense and work for you. If you have more questions, feel free to just shoot me a DM on IG below. And if you're like, hey, that sounds great, Riley, you sound great, but like, I don't know, not for me, well, click the video, Trey lost 42 pounds, regained his confidence. That video is one of my first clients, Trey, who I helped change his life. But again, if you check the playlist of that video, there's full-length client interviews who have went through my program. And then on Instagram, there's like tons of testimonials and transformations of like all the people who have went through my program, their stories, the results they've gotten. They're also tagged. So like go DM them on IG, right? Go DM on Instagram. What has your experience been like with Riley? Ask them. They're real-ass people getting real-ass results, doing real shit. They're just people like you, okay? And I'm someone like you who just helps you do things, okay? So it can be pretty straightforward and less of this like big song and dance and more just like, hey, let's crush it. Okay, well, that is the video. If you enjoyed and you want to sign up, like, do what I just said. So let's go, let's get it, let's get to it.